Fellas I went to school with, I'd see just once in a while. Now I see them once a month. And Warren also asked me to be on the planning board. We have about 8 of us that are on the planning board, and we meet 4 times a year. We discuss with Warren what type of speakers we'd like to have, and he does his best to get the speakers. And we also plan our anniversary dinner, which we have outside the building, and our Christmas lunch, which we have here, but it's catered, and we solicit merchants and people in town to get gifts for our raffle table. And along the way, we meet men who don't come to this thing for some reason or other, and we tell them, you know, what they're missing and how much they would enjoy it. So we ask them to, you know, we can either call Warren or they can call Warren to make a reservation so he knows how many sandwiches to order. And you don't have to be from Swampscott. You can be from any community. And and we also plan a small board trips to take. We take short trips here and there. Rod, who's co-director, he drives us in the van that you see parked out there. And it's just a fantastic experience. And honestly, I was frightened of retirement, but now retirement is great. Keeps me busy and I'm having fun.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. I think you both were mentioning, all 3 of you actually were mentioning, how surprising in some ways, but actually great it has been to meet people you sort of knew in passing, but have developed closer friendships and outside of the group. And that's a special, I think, benefit. I know we've been looking at research and information about how older adults define healthy aging, and one of the key parts of that is how important relationships are, how important that connection is with other people, sharing common interests, common activities. And it sounds like this group is an absolute model for that, so that's great. I'm going to move on now over here to John, and I know we were out at the golf course the other day with these 2 fellows, but what kind of things, what kind of activities have been your specials, and what kind of things would you like to add to the comments that have all been made?
Golf is not one of them.
No.
But I do enjoy our time. We have a bowling league through the winter, and I enjoy that very much. I really look forward to the activities that the club allows us to have. Myron mentioned that the fact that we do have speakers every month, and we've had some fantastic speakers, nationally known artists and authors, and also TV personalities. Warren goes out of his way, and he does a heck of a job to get us good speakers. I really look forward to that. I also look forward to on Wednesday afternoon weekly, we have a kind of a casual cribbage club that started with 2 or 3 of us. Now it's up to a dozen. So it's really exhilarating to see how well things have transpired here at the new center. We've really come a long way here, and started off with about probably a dozen or so men down in Bowell Street. Now we're up over the 40 person mark.
Is that right?
On a monthly basis. So plus other activities that they have there for men. But yeah, I really enjoy it, and I look forward to more enjoyable days here at the senior center.
Well, thank you. I can see why you do. And I know you also said you'd been all involved with some fundraising activities as well for the Senior Center. So I want to thank you so much, all 3 of you, for being here today and sharing your thoughts about the group and your enthusiasm for the group and all the activities that clearly make a big difference to you. So thanks again for being on.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan.
I'd like to welcome you back from the video. I hope you all found it as interesting as I found it. It was nice to be out there on location with Chuck Marcoux at the Reedy Meadow Golf Course, talking to him about the men's group. And I'm sure Susan Brown in her interviews found it, again, as interesting as I did. Warren, you were mentioned actually when I spoke with Chuck in very positive light. How many years have you been doing outreach work, and how did you get involved in that?
Coming up on about 10 years now, Dave. I actually got involved in it. I had retired from education, which is the field I was in, and I just saw an ad in the paper, and there was a 30-hour-a-week job that had just opened up in Swampscott at the time, so I thought I might like to do something sort of give back to the community. I know it was a sort of a feel-good type of job and helping people out, and I knew enough about the community, so I decided to apply, and fortunately Martha Marcoux, who was the director at the time, hired me. So I've been at it about 10 years.
And you know, being there 10 years, obviously you've enjoyed it because you've stayed that long. What is it that you like about the job?
Well, the main thing is the job, as far as an outreach worker, is that you're able to help people. People in need, whether you can help them directly or indirectly by pointing them in the right direction where they can get services and the help that they need. That to me is a good feeling. You go home each night and you know you've done something good, and it's a really enjoyable experience. It has been.
Yeah, that's terrific. Since you've been involved in it so long, and you're involved in the men's group and the formation of the men's group, what are some of the things you've learned over the years about men, their interests, the elements of the group that keep men coming?
Well, you know, it was funny how this whole thing started. One of the things they asked of me when I first came on board was that there just wasn't enough male participation at the senior center, and that seems to be a situation in most senior centers. They said, could you think you could try to stimulate some more male participation? So what I did is I got in touch with about a dozen or so fellows that I knew, and I said, let's come over to the center, and we sat down and had a nice meeting, and had a luncheon, and asked them to come back in a month with one more person. And the next meeting we probably had about 20 guys, and the thing just grew. And what I found was these are guys who either knew each other or had known each other but hadn't seen each other in a number of years. And the main thing that I loved about it was the fact that there was as a camaraderie that existed right from the get-go. And it's just something that I enjoy being around. Personally, I have made some new acquaintances, people that I didn't know in the past, and people that are good friends today. And it's been very, very enjoyable for me, and especially the way the club has grown, because as I said, it started with 11 or 12 guys, and my mailing list is probably about 90 now.
Wow. Hopefully they don't all show up at the same meeting.
They don't. They probably get from about, most meetings now, since we've been at the new center, have been around 30 to 35, which is good.
That is great.
Yeah.
So you don't have any problem recruiting men into this
No,
group?
it's really we don't recruit. It's just word of mouth,
It's
and
word
all
of
of a
mouth.
sudden I'll get someone will show up at a meeting, or someone will call me and just say, hey, I'm going to bring somebody else with me this time, and I just add them to the mailing list.
That's
and
great.
that's the way it works.
That's terrific. Now, one of the gentlemen in the video mentioned that within the group, the men help each other, and I'm wondering if you can give us some examples of how this has worked and what you have observed in your 10 years.
Well, as I said, the camaraderie is there, and if someone's going through a hard time, whether it be a death in the family or an illness in the family or something like that, or they just need a ride, or maybe help with a project around the house that maybe they're not too familiar with. I know these guys, even for me at the senior center, if I need someone who happens to be good at whatever, you can call them and they're right there. They're really good at helping each other out, and I've seen that, and they're just very willing, very sharing group of guys.